cha-cha slide.
Audrey, tu peux parler juste une seconde?
Oui. Ok. Mais il manque quand même les présidents. Hein. Okay, in the meantime, guys, please, thank you. We're missing a Mac charger that someone probably took thinking it was theirs. Please give it back to Kit if you took it by mistake. Hein? Ah, c'est pour nous? Oh. Seulement si tu dépasses pas ton, ton temps de parole. Ok, on commence ou...
Thank you very much. It's me again. I'm still your NR, and I am going to talk to you about international updates and especially the events that I have attended. That is CND Lausanne and CNR Belgrade. So first, Council of National Delegates that was organized by two beautiful sections of Lausanne. It was a great event. Thank you very much to all the OC. And I had a very nice delegation there. We were overall 7 Swiss people. A lot of them are here today. We had a lot of discussions about the ESN review mostly. Talk about it more later. And there was the Council of National Representatives of Belgrade, where 3 of us went. We took up a lot of space as usual, asked a lot of questions. We were very involved in the discussion, so that was pretty great. About the topics, like the main topics that were discussed during these events, the first and very important one is the ESN logo update, which will be voted on at AGM Costa Brava. So this is our current logo. It was designed in 26, so it's been like about 11, 12 years. And it has quite a few shortcomings. For example, there's this I for international and exchange, which nobody ever uses in their name. The writing is pretty small, which makes it very hard to print on clothing. There are a lot of guidelines to use it, which are super complicated. There's a 50-page visual identity manual that you're all supposed to know by heart, but that everybody violates all the time because you don't know that you're not supposed to turn the star around by more than 20 degrees angle, for example. The font is pretty old. The whole I Love New York was cool in the 2000s, but it's not cool anymore. So basically, since this is a period of change in ESN, the International Board would like to update this logo. So this is what it should be like. The I is going to go away. The font is going to get updated. The writing is going to go away to make it simpler for merchandising, printing, and using. But the star and the color should stay to some extent in some kind of shape. So, and going with that, we'll also have a refont of our visual identity, which is very complicated at the moment. We have a lot of we have a lot of little logos for ESN. If you look at some people's computer, you will see a lot of stickers with very different colors and shapes, and it's a bit confusing, especially for people outside of ESN. So the idea is just to get a more uniform visual identity. The logo is going to be presented at AGM Costa Brava as a really boss thing, and then the people who are there are going to vote on it. So maybe that at NP3, I'll present the new logo, who knows. So that's one topic. Another important topic are the causes of ESN. Kamel will talk you more about it tomorrow, but just to tell you a bit more about that, at the moment we have some ESN international projects, such as social Erasmus, exchangeability, Move in Europe, some others. There will be small sessions about the international projects tomorrow. International Erasmus Games, yes, that is not an international project, but never mind. That is a perfect example of the inflation of logos that we have in ESN. You know, all of these logos, they look very nice, but when you see them, you have no idea they're related to ESN. So that's also something that the logo update will try to solve. And so Social Erasmus is a cool project, but when you hear the name Social Erasmus, you have no idea what it's about. And when you tell your friends or your family who are outside of ESN, you're like, yeah, I'm doing a Social Erasmus project, they'll be like, what? Like, okay. So these names are just like very confusing, difficult to understand, also for new people in ESN. I guess half of you don't know what these projects are about. So the idea is to go from these like very ESN-ish projects towards some more causes. And so the 6 causes that were identified as the thing that unite us in ESNs are education in youth, social inclusion, employability, health and well-being, culture, and environmental sustainability. And you'll know more about all of this tomorrow. A very big topic of this year on the international level has been the ESN review. ESN review is a proposed reform of the structure of ESN. On the international level, but also national and local level. As a concrete outcome, there will be some changes of the funding documents of ESN, the statutes and the standing orders, that will be voted on at AGM Costa Brava by those of you who are going to be there. And I'll have a more detailed presentation about that later today. Then another pretty important topic of this year, a bit of a less happy ones, are the finances of ESN International. We have made quite an important loss in 2017 for various reasons. The budget is now out, and I think the loss is about 25,000 euros. We don't have a lot of financial reserves in ESN, so we've had problems not having enough money at the end of the year, but not having enough cash on our bank account to pay for the usual expenses. And for that reason, the budget for 2018 is going to be a very conservative one. We're going to try to save as much money as possible and put some money aside to make sure that we don't run into these kind of problems again in the future. And one extremely important change in this budget is to increase the price of the ESN card. I hope you all know what the ESN card is. It's this card that you sell to your Erasmus students, exchange students in general. At the moment, we buy it for €1 to ESN International, and they want to increase the price to €1.50. So that's quite a big increase. And the money that they would make off of that would be reinvested into the ESNcard.org platform in order to hope to get some more partners in the future, to have more of a maybe professional look for them, and get some more sustainable finances. This is going to be discussed in the ESN card workshop or small session, so if you're interested in that topic, please go to that section. That's it for the important topics that we discussed. ESN review was really the biggest one, so I'll tell you more about that later. And that is my email address if you ever want to contact me. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, we have a few minutes for questions. Speakers list is open. Barbara was first, and Nora. Name and section, don't forget.
Barbara is Bern. If the ESN, you already know if the ESN card price is going to be increased, is it going to be ESN Switzerland who's going to pay, or the section?
That is an excellent question. So just to give you a bit of context, what happens in Switzerland is that the national board buys a card from ESN International for €1, and then we sell back to you guys for 5 francs, which means we make quite a comfortable margin on it. And this is money that's a pretty big part of our budget, and then we reinvest it in intersection events, in NPs to support the OC and that kind of things. That is an open discussion. That's something as a national board we've discussed it. It would represent a loss of a couple of thousand francs, which is not that small of an amount considering our overall budget. We haven't agreed on a very strong position yet, but we'd really like to discuss that with you guys and with the sections because we need your inputs basically. So that's going to be an open discussion up until NP3, and then at NP3 we're going to discuss it again, maybe even vote on it. Don't hesitate to approach us if you have any feedback on that. And go to the small session about the ESN card.
Okay, I have Laura on the speakers list. Does anyone want to be added? Otherwise, I propose to close the speakers list. No objection. Speakers list is closed.
Laura, ESN Uni Lausanne. As maybe not everyone in the room knows, you said we had quite a big loss of 25,000 euros in 2017. Could you maybe elaborate a little bit so that people can know where it comes from, this loss?
Yes, sure. There have been a few problematic things that happened in 2017. One of the big things that happened is that ESN International prints merchandising. So you've maybe seen like the sweater that Julia is wearing. This is something that was printed by ESN International and that you could, in the past, buy from the web shop. They wanted to print some new sweater to sell them to sections, but they had a very unfortunate partnership with a merchandising company that basically went bankrupt after ESN International gave them 25,000 euros. So that's money that they couldn't get back. They looked into hiring a lawyer and trying to sue the company, but since it went bankrupt, it would probably just have been very expensive lawyer fees to end up not getting any money back. So yes, that's one of the things that happened. The logo, no, that's not true. Yeah, that's one of the extraordinary expenses.
Maybe if I may just, I knew the answer, it was just so that everyone could know. One of the reasons ESN International had cash problems in their bank accounts is because they depend on grants, on European grants. And the grants, it's all the money comes at once. You fill up a form, you ask for money at the EU, they give you all the money. Then you use it, then you ask for another one, you use it, and sometimes what they messed up is that at some point they had no money in the bank account because grants were coming. And this is also a big problem of ESN International, and why also 25,000.
Yeah, and that's something that they want to try to improve in the future, get some more diversified sources of income to avoid having all the grants coming up at the same time and having cash flow problems. Thank you for your question.
Okay. We're not going to have the lunch, so if someone from the OC want to quickly come explain how it's going to happen.
Okay. So guys, the lunch take place in MR40. It's the same room, room 1 of the Meet Your Colleagues. You can find Kwasi for your sample. And Fabi? Okay. Pardon? What? Okay. You have 1 hour, and please be more quiet because people complain. They have course in the other room. So thank you.
That's it. You can go.
Please be back at 1:40, please.
OC? 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 Is the room going to be locked?
Yes, can we get the computer or?
Take your computer.
Funny. Funny. Mais pour leur dire bonjour.
Les 2 personnes qui regardent le live. Non, il y a plusieurs personnes. Ouais, il y a une dizaine. Faire un petit tour de magie.
Wow.